what's going on behind the scenes with? Is anybody talking about the COVID shots
I can tell you.
behind the scenes?
I can tell you
at all?
I can tell you exactly what's happening behind the scenes. There's very little ideology, and it is full on discussions of the childhood chronic disease crisis and the fact that kids are getting so sick.
COVID shots.
I think there's
because he loves Operation Warp Speed, right? Trump and all of the advisors and everybody that he has put in positions of power. Other than Jay Bhattacharya has said on X that he agrees that the COVID shot should be pulled off the market because he signed the Hope Accord, although the Hope Accord does not have it on their website. But other than that, everybody, look at the Surgeon General pick. I mean, that's a nightmare.
I think there's
and Dr. Oz is a complete nightmare.
Who is the Surgeon General pick?
I'll just be the first one to say this.
Yeah.
I love the Dr. Oz pick.
Okay.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, because centralized medicine, what better way to blow it up than to put a World Economic Forum guy in charge of it?
Okay. I think Dr. Oz is going to be extraordinary.
You do?
And I think
why?
Do you think it's possible that a lot of these people, these high-level people in politics, and Bobby included, from what you alluded to with your first conversation with Bobby and Rick, that they aren't educated on any of this stuff? And if they aren't educated on any of this stuff, for example,
there's no excuse at this point. This is the biggest public health event in our lifetime. You should be up to speed, and especially if you're going to have power and a microphone.
Totally,
you have to be.
You missed something while we were joking here. I actually made a joke about Dr. Oz, and he actually thought it was a good pick.
I think,
guess what? That fits with my concerns.
Well, Jack, I think that the picks Bobby made are I think
so that Bobby made these picks, not Trump?
No. I think the picks President Trump made. Yeah, I think the picks President Trump made are very strong, and I think this is just my opinion. I think we have people that are aligned with the vision that Bobby and President Trump painted during the campaign.
And that's the reason why I said before that I'm no longer on Bobby's train. I'm kind of out because of what Mary's saying here. I had a lot of hope. And I will tell you that when Bobby got lawfared, Nicole got lawfared, if you go back and listen to the Rick Rubin podcast, Bobby laid his vision out right there about how he's going to do it because he's an attorney and I'm going to go sue everybody like I've done before, like we did with Monsanto.
Right.
And the funny thing is, I said to Bobby, it's not going to work. And I said, I think you need to listen to what Bukele did. We need to put a constitutional amendment in and take all the f***ing criminals out of the mix to begin with. And he said, Jack, that's great, but not even DeSantis could pass that kind of law in Florida. But then...
Well, I will say in Tennessee, they're about to propose a bill to ban the sale and distribution of all mRNA.
I know.
Tennessee may be the first.
Well, I just got a call from one of the people, a governor, who this may be a very interesting point to bring up, especially with him, to show you just how what happened in Trump's last term could actually be helpful. And this may be really big for you in Texas. So you know that Trump took a lot of shit in his first term about abortion. And remember, since abortion is not mentioned in the Constitution, the states have to go by the 10th Amendment. Well, guess what? Medical freedom is also not mentioned in the Constitution. That means it would go the same route. So you know what that means? Uncle Jack could sit down and talk to a governor. If a governor is willing to put my constitutional amendment in the state constitution, we got an issue. And it's a good issue. Do I think that's a way to go? Because then you don't need to deal with Trump and you don't need to deal with Bobby Kennedy. In other words, you go
I
straight.
think it's going to be state by state.
Well, you have to realize the states that I think could be very, very interesting here is Trump had a very contentious relationship with his previous primary guy, our governor, DeSantis. Right. And we know why that relationship was destroyed because somebody who used to work at Mercury, which was a PR firm. That's Susie Wiles.
Where I used to work.
Well, Susie worked there as well. And this was not about you. This is more about her.
But you're missing the conspiracy tie.
Yeah, but you're not that important, my friend.
I know that. That's why I'm curious you're talking about me so much.
You're not that important about this issue.
I agree.
The issue is, could this be an issue because your governor actually is pretty decent? Well, decent for the medical freedom aspect.
You're rolling your eyes. Why? Why is that?
Texas is bad. I mean, we have the largest medical center in the world.
Houston.
We're home of the vaccine mandate. Houston Methodist, correct. April 2021. We were the first one to do it, and I mean,
even before the president mandated it.
Yeah, 4 months before Biden did it. And, I just see what they did to me, right? I was nothing to them. I mean, I'm a solo practitioner, a pretty small practice, and they they fleeced me. They squashed me. Or they tried to. And, Abbott, he was always sort of a step behind DeSantis during the pandemic. I mean, granted, he was better than, somebody in Washington State, but he's always been a little bit cautious in medical freedom. And, I've reached out to him a lot regarding my case with the medical board and haven't heard anything back. And, he has close ties to the medical community. So I don't know. Abbott, I don't know. Wait, you were saying you like Abbott though, and I can't remember what
the reason I'm hedging my bets. I can't say everything, but there's states around Texas that I've already talked to, and Texas knows about these talks.
Oklahoma is progressing good. Progressing well.
I'm just going to tell you, I think I'm a little bit probably more optimistic on state than I am federal.
Yes, I agree.
And the point that I'd make to you, since you and I are Floridians, I'm Congressional District 1 and you're down here. Very few people know that Matt Gaetz is someone who represents me, and I'm the reason why he kept going down to El Salvador, because I kept writing him letters saying, you need to come down and look at what Plan Bukele is. And that I feel very strongly about DeSantis, and I feel very strongly about the Florida Surgeon General. That is the guy that should have got the job. Because if that guy gets the job, the jabs are over, because they're basically over here. Yeah. And you're a Floridian. I'm a Floridian when I'm in the States. That is the kind of leadership that we need to see at the federal level, not the state. And the fact that we haven't got those picks in, and we hear what Calley's saying as being an insider there. That
no.
Well,
I'm just saying Trump makes
point?
Good choices.
Yeah. Well, we are disagreeing with that.
Well, you'd agree with Jay, or you'd agree with Jay.
Jay is the only one right now that I actually think is pretty good.
Yeah.
But the point that I'll make is that he's actually confirming for me what your and I's feeling is, that it's not going well on the federal. So we may need to start paying more attention to the state side than not. And I think that's where you and I are in a pretty good situation.
Can I add on to that, try to constructively? So first off, Latipo, totally agree. And, I think he's a great leader and should be having a national voice. And that's my opinion. So, on the picks, I mean, I agree with your frustration. I mean, like this is, I think we're in a big opportunity federally. I think we need to be doing aggressive state actions. I think people should be listening to you, Jack. I mean, like on your ideas and on this data. I mean, you might not believe,
Calley,
I truly believe that.
I just so you know, they are listening to me.
Good.
Everybody in Washington, D.C. reads my tweets. Just so you know that. They do.
Okay, good.
Because I have confirmation of that, but realize something else. I'm the guy sitting at the table that wrote a constitutional amendment.
Yeah, I know. Jack.
That's actually in their hands, and they don't want to do something with it. In the United States.
My literal goal in life is to help get radical ideas and transformative ideas into our healthcare system.
And what I'm trying to tell you is the people that you think are going to help, they're not helping.
So Jack, I'm super cynical about DC.
I don't think you are. I think you're still looking for that job.
No. So we can get into my story on that. You might be right. I mean, we all have psychological hangups that we are working a lifetime to get over, and I've explained kind of the continuing to reflect, plaudits along the way. I mean, sure, like everyone has their wounded child. I'm sure you do, and are working on that too. I mean, like everyone's got their traumas. I would say that everything did change when I, decided to focus on this issue and Casey and me to put our hearts out. And, everyone is the hero in their own head and has pure intentions probably, but we are trying to spread a message of light out there. And, I think any type of power you might be overstating, but like you, we're trying to push things forward.
It's not power, Calley. I want you, I just think this is the part of you that comes off so disingenuous.
Okay.
You are an expert in legalized lying. That's what PR and lobbying is. Let me finish.
Yeah.
It's not debatable. But you told me that you reformed, and I am taking you at your word.
Mm-hmm.
You have to realize that propaganda is a tool of the government.
Mm-hmm.
Obama has weaponized it against us by law. And the pharmaceutical industry can do it on TV. That's how we lost our First Amendment. You know that we talked about,
which you acknowledge I'm trying to stop.
But
right?
we talked about that on the last podcast. My point that I'm trying to say is if the propaganda doesn't go away on the federal level, we're not going to be successful at all. That is the point. And the point when you say, well, Jack, I don't know about this and that, you have to realize, do you understand? You know, I don't want to be a dick with you and throw the gauntlet down about ignorance and fraud. But when I say to you clearly that the propaganda arm here is a big issue, and the fact that the people you used to work with, that's their modus operandi.
That's all I'm calling out, Jack.
Well,
Jack, I respectfully, you've done a lot. You're pushing a lot. I don't think anyone's talked more about the need to ban D2C pharma advertising and how nefarious that is, and how that allows the pharmaceutical industry not only to brainwash people, but also to buy off the news itself.
But none of the people that Trump are putting at the federal level are doing that. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Jack, it gets in a logic problem. So I'm just talking about that, bringing that as much to the national stage as I possibly can in order to subvert it. Why wouldn't I just subvert it in the first place?
Well, I guess
Can you answer that?
No, I guess you missed my point.
Like
Jack,
by
you saying that to me, you missed the point.
Okay.
The point is you're okay with what they're doing at the federal level, but you're
Jack,
not
of
okay
course
going
I'm
that
supportive
way.
of President Trump, what he's doing. He's appointed the best reform-minded group of people for HHS in American history. I'm extremely supportive and extremely optimistic.
I don't see it
also
that
am
way.
extremely...
I think it's the status quo.
Who's a more reform-minded HHS group of people? Marty is pledged not to go to pharma after this. I think the past 20 years, every single FDA commissioner has gone straight to pharma. These people right now are not going back to pharma. So, Jack, I would say if you investigate and if you're honest, the past 20 years of HHS leadership, this is the most reform-minded. You might not think it's reform-minded enough, but it is.
No,
it is.
Let me tell you what it's about, my friend. Ideation without execution. Ideation without execution leads to deletion of every good idea. And I don't give a shit what they say. I want to see the action.
I 100% agree with that statement.
No, you're willing to give them a olive branch now,
Jack,
I'm not.
Jack, I'm not giving anything.
They don't deserve shit.
Yeah,
do you want to know the truth?
We have to hold their feet to the fire.
Hold on. We can hold their feet to the fire, of course. But I think the question is, it's a fair question, how do we support Bobby and Trump and this team as much as we possibly, or maybe that's not what you think it should do. But
no, we shouldn't support them at all. They need to do the will of the people.
Right.
That's what they need to do. Not the will of Calley. Not the will of Calley. Calley wants to be, transparency.
What do you think we should do? Well,
I think we it down. That's what I think.
Well, I
it down.
So what? Literally, what would you advise to do?
I would tell Elon and Vivek to close in places down, and I'd start with the intelligence communities.
Can we back up?
And I'd start.
Hold on.
I'd start with everything tied to science.
Jack.
Because there's nobody worthwhile in there.
Can we step back and actually calmly talk about what your 100-day...
I'm very calm.
Okay. Can we talk about what your 100-day plan would be? Like what
constitutional amendment.
Okay. So what would be your recommendation of how to
anybody associated with goes to Guantanamo Bay first and foremost.
Okay.
That's it. That's the first thing I do.
Okay.
And I know that if Getz was in, that'd happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first place. And then I'd start changing laws. The first law I'd change, it's a 1980 law that allows scientists paid by taxpayers to benefit from research. That should end.
Yeah, I don't think there's anyone in the country that's talked more about that than me. So,
well, I got news for you. It ain't going to happen.
Okay.
And with the people that Trump's put in, the second thing that needs to happen is the liability law needs to go by the way. And here's the big issue. The first 100 days, the only thing Bobby should focus in on, only thing, is a RICO case against everybody associated with messenger RNA technology. And that includes the Department of Defense.
How would you do that?
I just told you how I do it.
I'm not.
Investigate. We already have Fauci's emails. We have Morin's emails. We have tons of data. You seem to act like the data's not there. Kevin McKiernan
No,
literally
I'm not.
could go to Congress
Jack,
and tell them that he found SV40,
Jack,
anybody associated with the FDA approval process, Guantanamo Bay.
I'm not suggesting that data is not there. I'm suggesting that we certainly don't fund foundational research on why we're getting sick. That
then you don't solve the problem.
Data is being covered up,
and then you don't
that
solve
we're
the
not
problem.
being open
Is what
source.
you're saying.
There's huge. So I think.
So you just want to ignore everything that's already out there.
No, not at all.
So you want to
think
kind
that's
of
what
do
he's
what YouTube?
Oh, I think as much. Bobby's talked about getting rid of the FISA department. Just open source and release as much as we possibly have. That's a huge part of transparency.
We need accountability, though.
Yep.
Or else
People need to go to jail.
Hold on. So and again, my story is.
We're not interested in your story.
Hold
We're
on,
interested
hold
in
on,
the story of we the people.
Well, I'm giving my opinion. Is that we all come from different perspectives. I am just trying to think, just intellectually, like this is what I like doing, is like, how do you channel this spiritual awakening I believe many people in America are having about our healthcare system being broken and the incentives being destroyed, and channel that into actionable ideas that can get done in the first year. And that's not like me. I'm not controlling, I'm
No,
the one
you
person.
speaking like a politician and a lobbyist.
Well, maybe and I feel
Not
my
maybe, definitely.
No, hold on, Jack. My story is
that's
my
actually
story,
what our big problem is
hold
with
on.
you.
My story is, and this is for you to respond to, is that talking about practicality puts your guys' alarm signals up that I'm somehow trying to subvert something. It's like we are at the time now where
and we actually should feel that way.
okay, but there is a question of what should be done in 63 days, right?
I just told you.
But
The people that we
sending
know have
people to
committed
Guantanamo?
fraud need to go to Guantanamo Bay.
I don't think suggesting to send people to Guantanamo might be the best political. I mean,
Jack,
and
I don't care
just
about the
like-
political part.
well, I do.
I don't.
I do.